ഇപ്പോൾ പാർലമെന്റിൽ Sitaram Yechury സംസാരിക്കുന്നു.
Of the sales tax. He continues, sir, against what? There are, I quote, there are a large number of resources on which the provinces depend have been concentrated in the center list. It is desirable at least to leave one important source of revenue with the provinces. Therefore, I think that the proposal to leave the sales tax in the hands of the provinces from that point of view is very justifiable thing, unquote. This issue has been under debate since then. We introduced the VAT in our wisdom. Much of that has been encroached upon. Now the GST bringing the services also into its ambit along with the goods will virtually take away this right. Now the state governments, or what was called the provinces then, not having any right to raise resources for whatever they would consider they are elected. They consider as important for the welfare of the people in those states, that will now be prohibited. How are you going to address this issue? I've discussed it with the finance minister myself, and we said at the time when the GST bill comes, then this should be addressed in the sense leaving some flexibility to the states. I'll tell you why, sir. Today you have the Kerala government, from where you come, sir, the state, has imposed a tax called the health tax. It is on your fast food and all these sorts of foods that increases obesity. It is a very noble thought. I mean, it's been welcomed internationally. But such rights will not exist after we enact this amendment and the bill subsequently. Or take the case of West Bengal, the state I come from, to this house. A tax has been imposed, a surcharge on cigarettes to raise revenues to pay for the victims of the Sharada scam. People are being asked to pay for the victims of the Sharada scam. Fine, whatever be that issue, that's a separate issue. But such rights do not exist in case of national calamities. Are we to reduce the state governments, elected state governments, by the people of these states to come to the center with a begging bowl saying that declare so-and-so issue as a national disaster and give us certain amount of money? What will be the legitimate rights of the states? And we are the Council of States in this August House. How do we protect that right? And that is an important point that needs to be considered, and therefore, I would request the finance minister, when he replies today, and more than that, when the GST bill actually comes, to ensure that there is a flexibility of this nature, whereby the states do not end up being actually coming with a begging bowl to the center, and the concept of federalism of the states and the center is destroyed from our constitution. That is something we cannot accept. So I demand that an assurance come on this count, and also a provision come when we actually discuss the GST bill. When it comes. Yeah, if and when it comes. The second major point I want to take, sir, is the point with which I was so happy, as I said earlier, hearing it from my good friend, Sir P. Chidambaram, the question of the entire concept of a goods and services tax, which is actually an indirect tax, and an indirect tax is a regressive tax. And the regressive tax has been explained, and all of us who know what is a regressive tax and how it burdens the poor much more, and it should not burden those people for whose welfare we are all supposed to work for. Now, how is this? You consider the situation. In India today, the direct tax component revenue in our country today for our country's resources is 37.7%. 62.3% already comes from your indirect taxes. That is, the people are burdened by that amount. In the last budget, the Honorable Finance Minister presented, indirect taxes have been hiked to the tune of 20,000 crores around, while the direct taxes have been reduced by over 1,000 crores.